Hi friends, welcome to fourth semester BA English Complementary Course Journalism, Journalistic Practices. We have already studied the different aspects, basic aspects related to journalism and mass media. In the first semester, we discussed introduction to communication and journalism, and the second semester, introduction to electronic media, and the third semester, we already discussed the different aspects of TV and cinema. Now we enter into the fourth paper of complementary course journalism, that is journalistic practices. How to be a good journalist, or what are the basic elements of journalism. That's we are going to discuss now. In the first chapter, it is chapter 1. Chapter heading is Organizational Structure of Newspaper. Organizational Structure of Newspaper. Part 1. Let's begin with the quotes of Mahatma Gandhi. He says, one of the objectives of newspaper is to understand the popular feelings and give expression to it. Another, to arouse among the people certain desirable sentiments. And the third is to fearlessly expose popular defects. From the quotes itself, we can understand what is a news, or what is a purpose or objective of a journalist. The first newspaper's objective is to understand what popular feelings. What is the people's feeling? What is their expectation from a newspaper? And expression. What is expression? Expression to it, the feelings should be expressed. And next, some certain desirable sentiments must be aroused among the people. That means people will have some desirable, or they have, or it is not expressed outside, but each and every person has some feelings inside. That should be aroused. That feelings must be a desirable one. That means it must be good for the public. Then the last third one is, what are the popular defects that should be exposed fearlessly? These three things are quoted in Mahatma Gandhi's words. Mahatma Gandhi quoted these words. That means first one, express the feelings. Second one, first one, express the feelings, and second one, arouse among the desirable feelings, desirable sentiments, and third one, that must be fearlessly exposed. These three things must need. Journalism means it's a public service, that we already know. Therefore, it is accountable to the community as a whole. It's a public service, social service. That's why media freedom must be there, and the government must not interfere with the media's freedom or in certain things. And the concept enshrined in the value system of the community. So, media freedom must be there in a particular in a desirable way. If something is crossing the limit, only the government should interfere. And that's why Mahatma Gandhi's objectives of newspaper is to arouse among the people certain desirable sentiments. That's we already discussed. Desirable sentiments. People will have some desirable sentiments that should be aroused. That is the first objective of a newspaper. And the other thing is the media, media is the vehicle of communication. It's a vehicle and it's a vital instrument in the creation of public opinion. For every day we are watching TV channels, reading newspapers, and everything they are giving, or each and every media or medium gives as some new information. That's why it is an indispensable pillar. Indispensable means it is an unavoidable pillar of democratic structure. That's we already decided. There are 4 pillars of a democracy. That is judiciary, executive, legislature, and the 4th one is journalism. So, if any one of the pillar is removed, it will not be, or it will be an accord, or it is not that much desirable for a democracy. That's why it is an indispensable one. Indispensable, that's I already explained that it's an unavoidable pillar of democracy. And the journalists, they are entrusted with the task of news gathering and news dissemination. They collect the news and distribute among the public, and the tasks are carried out under great pressure and sometimes to risk to their lives. Many journalists already sacrificed their lives for getting news. Some of them were killed, some of them were pressurized and tortured while they are doing or they are serving for the public cause. They are also subject to one of the highest occupational hazards. So, to become a good journalist is not an easy way. We have the recent examples of Gauri Langesh Patrika. She was killed in front of her house because of her fearless attitude or disseminating the news. And Naveen Nishkal of Dainik Bhaskar also killed. Sujat Bukhari of Rising Kashmir, he was killed in 2018. And Chandan Tiwari of Aaj, who were killed in the pursuit of journalism. And the American journalist Stephen Scotloff and James Foley, these two were beheaded by the IS terrorists in Syria in 2014. All these journalists were sacrificed their life for the public service. So, if we are criticizing the journalists or newspaper, we should remember their valuable service which are giving to the public safety or public protection. But unfortunately, some of them only are playing with or working with a vested interest. But most of the journalists are working for the public awareness and arousing public sentiments. American, I have already discussed it is, and journalists, the newspapers are the eyes, ears, and minds of the people. They are eyes, ears, and minds of the people because They unearth, report, and interpret events and issues on behalf of their audience. Newspapers are daily engaged in the gathering, packaging, distribution of news. That's we already know. They are collecting news and distributing among the people and collecting their opinions, or they are giving their opinions and supported with pictures and videos. In their role as a mass media, they shape and mold public opinion and represent social reality. Because of that, we are getting some kind of good governance from the good authority. If they are working in a rely or in a corrupted way, these newspapers criticize them. They expose the corruption. They expose the unethical ways of these authorities or monarchic or any other kind of governments also. So the mere collection of news and distributions alone not ensure the successful function of a newspaper. That we should not think. That means just collecting the news and distributing the news is it is not only the function, but it must have to be stand, or it has to be function smoothly, because each and every newspaper or any channels, they are depending on economic resources or economic funding. Without the economics or without the money, they can't function properly. That's why it must get some advertisements. So it's also the advertisement sections also a basis of a newspaper, because it's need for the stability and for profitability. Similarly, a paper must have good circulation. Merely printing the paper is not giving any profit to the newspaper. The newspapers must be circulated in a proper way. It should be reached into the readers, or the readers should buy the newspapers. So it must be circulated. A mechanical quality must be there. The paper should be printed in a qualitative manner. The organization set up from various newspaper varies from the newspaper to newspaper. Each and every newspaper has different setups according to the size of the newspaper, or according to the size of the news organization. There may be more employees, there may be less employees, and that's why each and every newspapers have three major departments. That means editorial, business, and mechanical wing. That's already I told you. Editorial, those who are editing the newspaper for the printing, and business, that means advertising and other economic related activities doing. It was done by the business department. And the third one, the paper should be printed in a qualitative way, that is done by the mechanical department. And these things are going to discuss in detail in the coming videos. So that's all for this video. Thank you.